Stewart. I was gonna do that, and then I came back.
I've heard the word Stewart so many times playing this game that it doesn't sound like a real word to me anymore. We're barely getting back on our feet after global civilization collapsed, and all these people do is complain. Anyway, we've all been waiting a while for Frostpunk 2, so let's just get into the game. I'm gonna be doing the story mode on officer difficulty since I didn't play the beta.
Can you hear us? Captain!
Do you hear us?
A generation ago.
Man, bro's been dealing with that yapping for 30 years and still looks like the average 40-year-old British man today.
But the world around us
But the world
is
around
dead.
us is dead.
Empty.
Ripe for taking.
This is what Americans were saying before they violated another Native American treaty. So, we're starting off playing as a group called the Wanderers. Wow, women drivers, am I right? Alright, so I gotta get this dreadnought running again by getting oil out of the wagon. Now when you want to build stuff, you have to pay money to break the ice on the ground first. It's beautiful. So now I gotta build homes for everyone. Building districts by each other gives heat bonuses, so you should be building districts with the idea of what you want next to it in mind. We've been here for 18 weeks and now the game is like, we should get some food. What have we been eating this whole time? We don't even have neighbors we could steal pets from, so I'm confused. Alright, now we just have to stockpile enough food to survive the incoming whiteout. This guy's telling me we may have to make everyone work double shifts and go on a diet to make the goal, even though the whiteout is 62 weeks away. But actually, now that I think about it, that's over a year away. What type of voodoo magic are we doing to know the weather a year in advance? So now I get to decide whether New London went down the order or faith path, and I feel like if I heard
Do you hear us?
all day, I'd feel like God abandoned me, so I'm definitely going with order. I was surprised to see some seals still alive. I guess that means that the aquatic food chain is still doing okay. I'm not gonna eat them because we're well on pace to have enough food for the whiteout. But I guess that's not enough for some people. We have enough food and the elderly are offering to leave. I'm choosing to believe that someone just hated their grandma so much that they just gaslighted her to make her leave and it got out of hand. I thought the Wanderers could get by on overtime shifts only, but then the food districts exhausted the soil and can't make any more food. So now I'm not gonna make the deadline. Well, looks like everybody's gonna have to go on a diet. Man, if I did this a month ago, I would have hit the goal, but I mean, I have 95% of the food needed. No way we all die, right? Hey, there we go. We may have not had food, but the seals living kept us going. Do you think while the Wanderers were starving and waiting for the whiteout to pass, they were looking at those seals like, me after my crush rejects me? Wow, New London is looking pretty good these days. I hope the new captain is doing alright and the city is strong. What? So, I'm finally in charge of New London, but they're calling me Stewart instead of Captain. I guess I gotta prove that I'm worthy of that title, like it's Thor's hammer. We have a lot more resources to work with around New London, but not much coal. Once I built the new coal mines, people have different ideas to make our final deposits last for as long as possible. I have to build a research institute next to finally unlock the idea tree. This is where you'll get all the upgrades for your buildings, but different factions will support different types of upgrades, which is honestly a really cool mechanic. Definitely makes the city feel more alive, and I hope other strategy games take inspiration from this. But speaking of those different factions, this leads right into the council mechanic. Now we have votes by representatives of the city on what we should do. The first vote is whether I should stay in power, and I gotta make a deal with one of the factions to get their support by promising to do something they would want.
The votes are in.
So, finally I got myself some room to breathe, and I've bought the city some time. But the coal isn't gonna last forever, and I have to start looking around for solutions. With a logistics bay built, it was time for me to look beyond the area around New London and chart the unknown expanses, hundreds of kilometers away. Not only could we find new resources, but also new residents because I desperately needed more labor for the city. The city's population will also grow on its own if you have enough resources, because honestly, I don't know what else New Londoners are supposed to do for fun here besides have sex. Meanwhile, my expedition finds some bodies and a map suggesting they were looking for an old machine, which means a fuel source had to be nearby it. There's also a small fishing village of nearly 2,000 people, and I feel like sleeping under thick layers of fur is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. It goes to negative 100 degrees Celsius out here, and these people are not making it without a furnace. Frostlanders are complaining about the mandatory checkups, and while I still feel like we should do this to nip any outbreaks in the bud, why did they have to have bro fully naked like this? That feels out of pocket. Crime is also becoming a problem for me. 1% of the population just died to homicides. New London, but the same problems as the old one. So one way to address the crime is by giving the kids something to do, either by making them work or go to school. But what use is teaching them to read when they could be getting me more coal? And I'm glad a supermajority of the council agrees with me. Sadly, all this talk about different ideas to run our government inspires more people to share their opinions, and we get the Pilgrims factions who I guess are like Luddites. Finally, our explorers find the old dreadnought from the prologue and all the oil alongside it. There are some bodies from the Wanderers covering some of the deposits, and I have to make a decision.
Am I really gonna defile this grave for money? Of course I am!
So now I have to create a colony at the old dreadnought and prepare the generator in New London to use oil. I made a promise to the New Londoners that I'd pass city development effort, and I go through with it, but this overwrites the law I did for the Frostlanders who said I broke the vow I took with them, which I don't get at all. I said I'd pass the law, I never said I'd keep it enacted forever. But they're gonna be big babies over this, so I have to do something to make them happy, or else they're gonna get more radical. I say I'm gonna research a tech for them, and when it's done, they still hate my guts, so I pass a law they would like, and nothing changes. So at this point, I just wish the worst for these people. As I'm beginning the colonization of the old dreadnought, I get an event about one of our coal deposits running out. Stalwarts and Londoners want to use explosives to get more coal, while the Frostlanders and Pilgrims want to use their kids, and can we just zoom in on how insane that suggestion is? No, don't use effective mining tools to get more resources, risk the life of my kid instead. I'm still holding on to the hope that I can make the Frostlanders happy, so I'll go with their plan. So, that totally safe coal mine has an accident later, and I have to make the tough choice between saving all the child miners or the coal deposit.
Memorial will be held this evening to honor those who gave their lives in the mines.
I mean, I blame the parents. This isn't my fault. Some of these sad events are trying too hard. George here is like, my mom died, I lost my hands to frostbite, and now my little sister is dead, who had to work 2 jobs to support us while being a boxer, all at the age of 13. Like, okay dude, sucks to suck, I guess. With the colony established at the old dreadnought, it was time to start frostbreaking to get access to that sweet, sweet oil. This was giving the people in New London ideas. Stalwarts want to use that oil to make New London as warm as the old one, while Pilgrims want to use the oil to reach out and settle more of the Frostland, whatever that means. So now I have to choose between the Stalwarts and Pilgrims, and I'm not gonna lie, the Pilgrims really haven't sold me on their vision. Radicalism is spiking in New London, and I'm gonna need to start addressing it. The first step I'm taking is guard enforcers. Prison is expensive since you have to take care of all their needs, but it costs £0 to beat a dude up.
The votes are in.
After colonizing the old dreadnought, I'm opening up the expedition map, and it's starting to set in how expansive the Frostland is gonna be. I'm pretty excited how big I'm gonna make this new British Empire. The council is really heating up with the stalwarts proposing a new law on machine attendants, which would make machines take over most of the work in the city. It's kinda goofy how the Frostlanders are obviously against this since it goes against their beliefs, until I say I'll research a building for them, and now they're all for it. You know, after reading this event, I'm starting to think I made a mistake passing that law. I figured it was only a matter of time, but now I gotta prepare for another whiteout hitting New London. I needed to stockpile food and oil for it, but I'm really kicking myself looking back over the footage because this whole time I needed to save up oil, I was burning the excess fuel in my generator. I'm just watching myself play badly like... No! 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 Because I embraced automatons, now we got them doing police work too. Obviously the pilgrims have their complaints, but that's simply the price you have to pay for a safe city. Later at the old dreadnought, the wanderers returned, very upset that we placed oil wells on their graves, but maybe they should have thought twice about putting their graves on oil deposits. I really don't want to have a fight with them, so I agreed to give them 30k oil to leave me alone. It is really annoying to store oil at the old dreadnought because the dreadnought really wants to use the oil supply instead of the coal, and I don't know how to stop it from doing that, forcing me to keep a lot more oil than I needed here than going to New London. I managed to hit the stockpile goal, but man, now that I'm seeing it, it's gonna really hurt to give all this oil away. I just realized not that long ago, I let over 100 kids die in a coal mine for the sake of the city, and now I'm sitting on more coal than I know what to do with. Never mind, apparently I was really blind playing this. The nomads had a camp by the old dreadnought the whole time, where I could have just sent them 30,000 oil from New London to finish the quest. So I've basically handicapped myself for no reason. The Wanderers still get their oil, but I've really screwed myself preparing for the whiteout. The temperature's about to drop 60 degrees and I have no oil stored. People are gonna be on me about the heat and I'm just gonna have to respond with...
So we don't have the capacity.
This doesn't look too bad, right? You know, even though hundreds of people are freezing to death, the city does look really pretty right now. Ignore the tension. The tension can't be a problem for me if nobody can go outside. So despite the major fuel deficit, I get through the whiteout and only lost like 1,200 people, so basically a 93% survival rate. I'd take those odds. Now that their amazing steward has proven his leadership, New London is ready to take on its next challenge. So in the next part, I'm gonna start an expedition towards the ruins of Winterhome and upgrade our generator. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to leave a like if you did. I'll get the conclusion to this campaign out as soon as I can, so make sure you subscribe to see it. Thank you to my alumni on Patreon for generously supporting me to become an all-powerful steward. Frostpunk 2 has really roped me in so far, so I feel like y'all will enjoy playing this too. More good content will be coming your way soon, so I hope to see y'all again.